So it's that time of year again, it's launch season, we've got new drivers to play with. Today I'm going to be testing out the Callaway Rogue ST. I've got a whole bunch of them here in my bag. We're at Dundonald Links today for this test, and yeah, I'm going to be focusing in on the Max model, so that's probably the one that's going to suit most of you watching this video. I'm going to compare it with last year's Epic Speed driver, try and give you just a good feel of what Callaway's latest offering is going to deliver. Before we get to all that though, if you're new to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button below, give this video a thumbs up, and any questions leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. So let me quickly run you through the four models in the Rogue ST driver lineup. Now, I'll get started with the Max, the one I'm mainly testing today, and it's the jack of all trades. It's really high MOI. It's the one that's probably going to suit most of you watching this. Now, very forgiving, really good solid ball speed, a large forgiving footprint down behind the ball, really that confidence-inspiring look. So it really is the one that I reckon probably 80% of you, if you're watching this, you're probably going to get fitted into that. It's the jack of all trades. Next up we have the Max D. Now, as the name might suggest, this is the draw model. A little bit of draw bias. We've got a weight within the heel of the sole of the driver. Just give you a bit more draw bias. Hopefully a wee bit higher launching for you as well. But again, high MOI, all the same technologies. Just help those of you who really struggle with a slice. Now for the Max LS. Now, as the name might suggest again, low spin, that's the name of this game. And this is the one for those of you who consider yourself a strong player. You get good club head speed, you're needing a little bit lower spin, it'll do the job for you, but it still retains that, you know, fairly forgiving footprint behind the ball. And yeah, it's going to high MOI, good speed, but crucially, a little bit lower spin. Finally, something a little bit different. Any of you who are big fans of Callaway drivers on tour have probably heard of this model. It's the Triple Diamond. Now, this is for probably not many of you watching this. This is for the pros. Mickelson, Schauffele, Ram, these are the kind of guys who'll be using this driver. It's a smaller squatter head, different shape, a little bit more traditional, lots of fade bias. Anti-left is the name of this driver's game. And yeah, it's just one that probably won't suit most of you watching this, or probably hardly any, because it's for those real strong players. But thankfully, you've got all those options. There are 4 options there, so plenty to choose from. And once you go get fitted, I'm sure you'll find one that gives you brilliant performance. Let's delve into the technology within this new Rogue ST lineup. Now, the ST stands for speed tuned, and Callaway said that's really the focus of what they're trying with these drivers. They wanted to marry all their best technologies into the one design to try and give you more speed, more distance, more consistency, tighter dispersion, all these kind of great things. But how have they been able to achieve that? What technologies do we have? Well, the first and most noticeable thing is this big weight towards the back of the golf club. Now, they're calling this their tungsten speed cartridge. Now, tungsten, a very dense metal, means that they've been able to put a lot of weight on the perimeter of the golf club, low and back, boost the MOI levels to try and give you more consistent ball speed. Retain your ball speed across the face. This thing weighs between about 8.5 and 11.5 grams depending on which model you're going with. But as you can see, yeah, it just sticks a lot of weight right out to the perimeter of the golf club. As far back as they can stretch it, and in turn that should give you more robust speed performance. Now we have the return of the jailbreak speed frame, something we saw in the Epic drivers last year, but they say they've speed tuned it, so they've just, you know, they've come along another year, we've got a new iteration, so there's a little bit more flex towards the top of the frame, a little stiffer towards the bottom, and it's also just a little bit lighter overall, so saving some weight. And its design, it's just pretty much the same as last year. Again, more consistent ball speeds, consistent launch angles, consistent spin rates across the face, everything designed to try and give you more consistent speed. That's what this thing is, you know, that's what's at its heart, consistency and high speed. Another key new feature is the new unibody construction. As you can see, we've got 2 carbon fibre patches on the sole here and the triaxial carbon crown, and then the rest of the driver is made up from one piece of titanium, and they say because it's made from one component, it just means they're able to save weight, save, you know, adding more glue into the golf club, more processes, more ribs, all these wee things that can just put weight where they don't want, which means they could sacrifice on the CG location, MOI performance, all these things. Again, just fine tuning the design of their drivers and trying to get the most out of every little facet of this golf club. And lastly, we need to talk about the AI optimized flash face technology. Again, you know, that's something that's now been around in Callaway for quite a few years, and they're just going forward that next stage. It's designed specifically for each driver, for each head, just to give you consistent ball speed, spin, all these things. But does that stack up out on the golf course? Well, there's only one way to find out. Now, I've been a massive fan of Callaway drivers over the last few years. I had the Epic Flash in my bag, the Maverick Sub-Zero in my bag, but I had one grievance with those drivers and with the Epic from last year, and it was in the looks department, and that's one thing where this year I think Callaway have just knocked out the park. Shelf appeal, it is absolutely there. The matte black crown looks fantastic, just the overall slight detailing, you know, the fact this tungsten pops out with that kind of goldy brassy colour. I think this is a really smart, modern looking driver, and it's probably the only thing that was lacking in Callaway drivers over the last few years. That's why I was going down the Callaway Customs route, getting the one that I like the look of. But you know, just off the bat, looks absolutely sensational. So after hitting on the range, first few holes, there's one thing that's standing out the most, and it's the ball flight on offer with this driver. Really impressing me. The trajectory is exactly what I want. High launching, but really stable through the air. You know, there's a wee breeze down here at Dundonald, but it just seems so stable in the air. It's not touching it, it's not tailing off towards the end of its flight. Just really solid, high launch, relatively low spin. This is a driver with the kind of ball flight that I could put in my bag. It's utterly delicious. Now, another big thing that's coming across is that was a wee touch heely on the strike. You can probably see my T marks just here out towards the heel, so wasn't quite centred. I've hit it about there. I'm right down the middle of the fairway, and that's what the, you know, that tungsten back in the head, the high MOI design, you know, round about the 9,000 mark in MOI. That's what makes this thing so forgiving, so user friendly. Now, one thing you'll notice across the Rogue ST lineup is that we don't have adjustability features on the sole like we did with the Epic drivers of last year, and that's just the way Callaway have been doing things the last few years. So one year you would have something with that, you know, maximum adjustability, then the next year they go with a model that doesn't really have that. And for me, adjustability in the sole, sometimes it can be really good for fine-tuning the driver. It can be good for honing in, you know, CG location, ball flight, wee fine details, but is it really that important for you? We do have the adjustability in the hosel, so you can dial in this driver a touch, but for me, I mean, adjustability, once I've got my driver set up, once I've got it fitted, I don't change it much. And with this thing, it just keeps going straight down the middle, so why would I ever need to adjust it? Now, I'll run you through the numbers I got earlier on today with my Skytrack launch monitor, comparing the Rogue ST Max with the Epic Max from last year, but also the Epic Speed model, just so you've got a good idea of the kind of differences over last year's products. You can see immediately the ball speed is a touch higher. I'm getting an extra mile an hour ball speed wise. Now, might not sound like much, but you know, incremental gains from year to year. I'm not expecting massive jumps in ball speed. You know, I've got a shaft in this driver that I'll like, you know, they're all pretty much set up to the same settings, so I'm not expecting huge gains, but to get that added distance just shows that the technology is delivering the goods. You can also see the launch angle's nice and high, spin. You know, it's probably just a touch on the high side for my game. That's why I would lean more towards the Max LS model, probably a little bit lower spin. But in terms of carry distance, the Rogue Max just pipping last year's Epics to the post. That's just that additional ball speed giving me that. You know, last year's drivers really good. They're a good fit for me as well. So yeah, you know, impressive numbers all around. I have no complaints, and the fact that I'm getting an extra couple of yards, it's doing what it says in the tin, getting some more speed. So who should be buying this driver? Well, I've been very impressed with the performance. The numbers were solid. Ball flight, really, really nice out in the golf course. Very user friendly, looks good, sounds good. It's ticking all the boxes. If you bought the Epic Speed driver from last year, or something from, you know, the last 2-3 years, then you might want to consider upgrading, go get fitted, see if you're going to get more performance, because you probably will from the Rogue ST. But if you've got something like maybe the original Rogue or the Epic that came before that, something 4, 5, maybe 6 years old, then that's when you should really be considering upgrading, because I think driver technology, you know, it has come along quite a long way. I've been testing out equipment for 5 and a bit years now, and it's when you get that far into it, you know, that many years down the line, that the incremental gains that the likes of Callaway make every year, they start to show up on that longer time scale. So if you've got a driver from last year and it's a good fit for you, You might not see the massive gains you want to, but if you've got something from 4 or 5 years ago, maybe the original Rogue, go and check out the new Rogue ST for yourself, because I think you will start to notice a big difference. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Any questions on the Rogue ST drivers, just leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and thanks very much for watching.